Hi everyone, my name's Sarah. I'm a civil celebrant, and that means that I create and perform ceremonies which are non-religious for life events such as weddings, naming days and funerals. So today's video is going to be all about naming ceremonies, which are usually focused on children. So whether they be 2 days old, 2 weeks old, 2 years old, there's no time limit on when you can have a naming ceremony, first of all. So in this video, what you can expect is to find out exactly what a naming ceremony is, what it entails, what happens, what you can expect. It's probably a term you've not heard before, and that's absolutely fine. You'll also find out about the kind of people who book a naming ceremony. Who are these ceremonies for? Why do people book them over something perhaps more traditional like a christening, for example? So you'll find out who they're for and why people book naming ceremonies over alternative ceremonies like christenings. I will also, towards the end of the video, include 3 top tips for saving money whilst planning a naming day. Now, this is something that's really important to a lot of us at the moment, so do stick around for those top tips on saving money whilst you're celebrating your child's naming ceremony. Okay then, let's get going. So, what is a naming ceremony? First of all, naming ceremony is often referred to as an alternative to a christening or a non-religious christening, whereas it is a ceremony all about your child. In the church, it's mostly about the church and God and welcoming the child into the church and for cleansing them of their sins and that kind of thing. And naming ceremony is all about the child, so all about them, what they have brought to their family purely by just arriving into the world. It's an opportunity for parents to make promises to their child to always be the best parents they can be, to provide them with everything they need to grow and to nurture them and to encourage them to always be themselves, be confident, to express themselves and explore everything about themselves and all the things that they want to do as they grow. It is also a celebration of close family and friends, and this can be reflected in the appointing of godparents. You can call them godparents, some choose to call them supporting adults. There's several terms that you can use to address them, but we'll use godparents just for the sake of this video. So the godparents will also make promises not only to the child but also to the parents, because let's face it, it's hard work raising children and sometimes we just need that little bit of backup. So these promises from the godparents are to always be there, be that that shoulder to cry on when the day just gets too stressful when you're raising a toddler and you're tearing your hair out, that to always be there for the child, to pass on their talents and their tips and things like that as they grow. It's also a celebration of the family that surrounds your child, and one of the biggest relationships and most important relationships can be the grandparents. Okay, so we can call grandparents forward during the ceremony to celebrate their bond with their grandchild. The way we do this is by asking each grandparent to offer the child one piece of life advice from their own experiences. So we're using our older generation's life experience, to then pass on the knowledge to our younger generations, the next generation. Okay, and it's a really lovely touch to include in your ceremony, a really lovely celebration of that bond between grandparents and grandchild. The naming ceremony is all about the child, their future, everything they can achieve and they will achieve. Your excitement for them, you're excited to see who they become, what they love to do, what kind of job they end up doing, what their hobbies are going to be. It's a big celebration of them, their personality, their unique characteristics that they'll already have from day one. A lot of people disagree, but from day one, babies have their own personality, I swear it. So we celebrate that. We celebrate everything that is unique about your child, okay? Whether they be 2 weeks old and their favorite thing is milk, or they're 2 years old and they love Paw Patrol, anything, whatever it is, whatever your child has found and they love and they, makes them unique, we'll celebrate it. We'll bring that out and we'll talk about it during the ceremony. We can also do things like readings, poems, which are lovely. This is a really nice way of getting other family members and friends involved. You might want to ask a friend to come forward and share a poem. Someone might want to write them a poem, that's absolutely fine. We can include things like a unity candle, which is where mum and dad, or dad and dad, mum and mum, they will have a unity candle. So each of them will use their own candles to light a central candle to represent the joining of them to make their child and their commitment to raising that child together, and obviously to the best of their ability. Things like that, something really special. There's all sorts of things. There's sand blending, there's water blessing, there's so many more things I could tell you about to include in your ceremony, but I won't because we'll be here all day. But there's some really lovely visual moments that we can create during the ceremony, and we can create keepsakes as well for your little ones to take with them as they grow as well. So why would you choose a naming ceremony over a christening? Fair question. It's something I get asked an awful lot, and it's absolutely fine. The main reason why people choose a naming ceremony over a christening is quite simply because they are not religious. They have family members maybe telling them, oh, you should have a christening, you have to have a christening, all your cousins have been christened, you were christened, but they just don't have that belief, and it is their choice. Okay, it is your choice as a parent what you think is best for your child. If you're not religious, then ask yourself, are the promises you make in church actually going to mean anything to you? Or would you rather make promises that you have written yourself or had help writing and make those directly to your child? Which would you prefer? Okay, and I'm not here to tell you which is right and wrong. Only you know the answer to that. Okay, so if you're not religious, this is perfect for you. It's the perfect alternative to a christening, okay? Perhaps one of you is religious and one of you isn't. That's fine too, because we can incorporate a little bit of religion in there. For example, we could put the Lord's Prayer, or we could include a hymn. All Things Bright and Beautiful is a lovely one, for example. And my point is, it's so adaptable completely around you. We can include a little bit of religion if you want to, but the majority of parents that I help with naming ceremonies are non-religious. They want the focus on their child. That's it. They want to celebrate this gorgeous little baby or this gorgeous child they've got in their life. And that's the main thing, okay? So I will just let you know before I go into my top tips about planning on a budget. I'm not going to skip ahead. I'm just excited to tell you what they are. But the way you can book a naming ceremony is to just pop me a quick message, and ask questions. Ask as many questions as you like. I will never push you into making a booking. I'm not that kind of person. Don't like hard selling. If you come at me with hard selling, I'm out. So just ask me questions. If you feel at the end of it, it's right for you, fantastic. We'll get you booked in and we'll start planning. If you get to the end and it's not for you, that's absolutely fine as well. At least you've gone away knowing what your options are. Okay, so that's what's important to me, you knowing what your options are. So finally, top tips for those of you who have hung around for the top tips. Well done, you got through my chunnering. So everybody here potentially is on a more modest budget. Okay, it's nothing to be embarrassed about. It is just the way of things at the moment. Let's hope they pick up and turn around very soon. Let's not go into that though, eh? So planning a naming ceremony on a budget can seem a little bit daunting. In fact, planning any celebration on a budget can seem a little bit daunting. So hopefully these 3 top tips on 3 top ideas will help you realize that it can be done on next to no budget at all, if I'm honest. So tip number one is to hold the naming ceremony at home. You don't have to splash out for a big posh hotel or, you know, a big pub meal where there's 50 people and you're feeding everybody. You don't have to do that, okay? That is a personal choice. If your budget will only allow for you to stay at home and have 10 people there, that's fine. The most important thing is that your child is being celebrated and welcomed into their community. Okay, so number one, plan your naming ceremony to be held at home. Number two, I don't know why I'm doing this, but number two is very similar, but it's to hold it in your garden. So they can be held outdoors, which is quite nice, especially in the summer and spring months, even into autumn. Fingers crossed the weather holds out for us. But yeah, so hold it in your garden. If your garden's not big enough or you don't have one, maybe you've got a family member or a friend who wouldn't mind opening up their garden for you to use. Just an extra tip on that, if you are going outdoors, do have gazebos and umbrellas on hand, because you never know what the UK weather's going to do, let's face it. So yes, number two, plan your naming ceremony to be held in your garden. Lovely stuff. Number three, my top tip number three is my favourite, okay? It's my absolute favourite thing for a very low budget naming ceremony. It's amazing. The photos look fantastic and you will love it. You will have so much fun. So number three is to plan, alongside the naming ceremony, a teddy bear's picnic. Okay, so everybody coming, not just the kids, everybody coming brings their teddy bear and their packed lunch, and you go to your favourite place, whether that be the park or the zoo or wherever. You take your teddy bears and your packed lunch and you get together and you set up all your little picnic blankets and you sit together, and we've got our bears and our buddies and all sorts going on. We have our naming ceremony, and then you have your big beautiful picnic all together, all having fun and lots of laughing, lots of games. Teddy bear's picnic, I'm telling you, it's the way forward for naming ceremonies. So I hope that has given you some ideas on naming ceremonies. It's given you a better idea of what they are and what they can offer your family, and also to reassure you that you don't have to, you know, spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds on this. It can be a very low budget, but still a really, really special day. Okay, so don't let that put you off. If you would like to know more, if you'd just like to have a quick chat, pop me a message. If not, hopefully you're at least gone away with some knowledge today, and you've taken something away from the video. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all again very soon. Take care.